ladies. Welcome to the No Expiration Date podcast, the podcast for women 50 and better who are ready to shake things up, try new things, and live life on their terms.
We are your hosts, Cindy and Anne-Marie, two women who know that life after 50 is just getting started.
Whether you're reinventing yourself, chasing a dream, or just looking for real talk and good laughs, you're in the right place.
We'll cover everything from career pivots to wellness, relationships, and embracing this bold, beautiful season of life with confidence.
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's chat, because the best is yet to come. Hey ladies, do you think side hustles are just for Gen Z on TikTok? Think again. In this episode of the No Expiration Date podcast, we're serving up some smart and budget-friendly side hustle ideas perfect for your second or third act. From selling digital goodies to turning your admin skills into cash, we've got doable options that don't require a trust fund or a 20-something metabolism. Whether you're craving creative freedom, extra income, or just something that's yours again, we're here to break it down with encouragement and experience. Today we have Serena Miranda, who is an insurance broker, former educator, podcast host, and mom of three who rebuilt her life and business after 50. Alongside her husband and business partner, Ron, she co-leads additional family ventures grounded in purpose, growth, and grit. She shares real-life lessons, both the hard seasons and the breakthroughs, with resilience, reinvention, and stay in the course. With a message rooted in purpose, positivity, and forward momentum, we are excited to have her join us today. And her message, it's never too late to start something new, and it just might be your best money move yet.
Hi, Serena. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Serena Miranda, and I'm an insurance broker / business strategist, mom, wife, daughter, and all those other titles that we have.
Right.
And I'm in a journey right now, I think, since I turned 50 to do something that's just all mine. And that's where I'm at. So everything I do is for Serena first and then everybody else.
That's good. It's good to be selfish. You need to put that in your life.
Yes. Exactly. That's what I've learned. And I learned it later because I come from a family where the women in our family do for everyone else. I want to say it's cultural because my mom, was born in Mexico and her mother was from Mexico. And just that was what we did. I mean, we just take care of everybody else and then we decide what we need.
Right. I remember growing up because my mother is also Mexican and all the women would be in the kitchen and all the men would be watching sports and I hated it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in a Hispanic family, but my family was exactly the same. Me and my sister would be in the kitchen washing dishes where everyone else is cooking. The men are down smoking their pipes or watching football.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's horrible.
And even I don't think it's 100% cultural because even like on my dad's side, who was from West Texas, his family was Irish, Texan, more Texan than anything else they say. But my grandmother was the same way. It was like kitchen. It was the ladies are in here playing bridge. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, where's dad? And he'd be like, oh, he's with your grandpa who's smoking a cigar. And I'd be like, I'll go over there. Which is interesting because like when I got married, Ron and I we're like always together.
Yeah.
So even when we'd be with the guys, I was always there. Ron would be like, come sit over here with me, Serena, and I'm going to, smoke a cigar. And I'd be sitting there right next to him. So that's just how we are.
They're super cute. They're like a Velcro couple.
Nice.
I wanted, tell us a little bit about, because you were a teacher for years and then you got tired of it and wanted to be an entrepreneur. So tell us about that.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because and my journey started in high school, I think. I wanted to be a teacher and my mom did not want me to be a teacher. She sat me down and she said, Serena, teachers don't make any money. Like, I know, Mom, I know, but I love kids and I love to be in that role. And she was like, go into business, don't do education. And we had a family feud about it. And I finally decided I want to be a teacher. And so that's where I started my journey. But I always did other stuff.
Yeah. I always had a side hustle too.
We always did. I sold makeup. I loved doing arts, crafts. And so felt like I was always looking for something else to fulfill me. Yeah. I was a teacher for a long time and I loved it. I worked here in San Antonio, primarily for like 3 different districts. And then I took a break Ron and I got married in 2001 and I had Marco in 2003. And that's when I stayed home. And I stayed home until 2008 when our whole lives collapsed. Ron was a mortgage broker.
Oh, yeah. The market housing crash.
So I had to go back to teaching. And that was in 2008.
Was it hard to go back?
It was very hard. Adhan was 3. Marco had just started pre-K. And Sophia, so they were 3, 4, and 5. And it was really hard because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was my plan. And I, sometimes you just got to take one for the team. I said, I'll go back to teaching. Ron, and that's when Ron kicked it into overdrive, his entrepreneur spirit, because he's like, I'll do roofs. So he strapped the kids into the back seat in their 3 little high chairs. And Marco was only going to school half day. And then that didn't go well. That's a whole nother podcast on my kids and education in classrooms. And Ron would take them everywhere. They were like the Home Depot children.
Oh,
like they lived at Home Depot. And then when they started school, he'd pick them up. He was the dad, I don't know, Mom. What is that movie?
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom.
Yeah. And he would pick them up in that truck and take him with him to job sites and talk Spanish. And they were and it's interesting because it's evolved into their lives.
Yeah.
And at school, I'd be like, Ron, you need to listen to this guy and you need to listen to this podcast or this Periscope. Do you remember when Periscope
I do remember.
started?
Yeah.
And that's how I first started listening to like Grant Cardone and just about, that motivation.
It does motivate you.
I would give it to him and I'd be like, here, listen to this. And he'd be like, okay. Or Ty Lopez.
I haven't heard
He's
him.
also from that era. And then I left the classroom and I went to work at Region 20 and do more from the corporate side. So we would train teachers on, I was a bilingual teacher. So we would take the state mandated directives and we would push that out and do training to different districts in the state of Texas. So, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So what was the turning point for you? Like when you finished teaching and then going into doing stuff for yourself?
Well, Ron went from all these different jobs until he got his footing and got into real estate.
Okay.
And in about 2010, he got his real estate license and he became a broker in 2012 and just hustling, just trying to make the business grow. And by 2017, he came to me, it was the new year, and he said, Serena, I really want to hire somebody. We can, like, his goal was always to help me come home.
Right.
So I didn't have to be working so much. And he said, we can do it now. You need to come and work for me or I have to hire somebody. I said, oh no, we're not hiring nobody. I'm coming home. And I put in my 2 weeks. And by March of 17, I was the operations manager.
Yeah.
And that was hard because you go from working with others to your spouse.
Right.
And it was a learning. I remember my uncle giving me advice and going, okay, Serena, you need to have your duties and he needs to have his duties. And I would quit every week. I'd be like, I don't like your attitude, boss. Like, I'm quitting. And he'd be like, oh, okay, Serena. He just put up with me. But I'd be like, I'm firing you because you're being aggressive. And and he didn't know how to communicate because he'd never had an employee or anyone to work with. He did it all on his own. So it was definitely a learning curve, but it was fun.
I think it's important to separate those duties. Like we kind of fell into our own duties with our partnership.
Yeah, we have.
Just kind of how it happened.
In any partnership. Yeah, I think. And well, because you're both businesswomen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of already have that. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Do that. Maybe it is the military in both of you.
Probably. And our
like
friendship.
Robot.
We kind of like, Because I think we piggyback off one another. I mean, I see what she's doing, and sometimes I'm like, you need me to take something over? And she's like, no, you're doing all that. No. To me, it's not enough, but yeah, she feels like she's not doing enough. So we're both kind of like, okay, well, it's
I'll do
working. So
everything.
yeah. But she is definitely the brain of it. I mean, I had an idea, but then she took the idea and just boom.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I noticed she does that.
Yeah, she does.
You mentioned it to me and you said, I think we're going to do a podcast. And then the next thing I know, I saw pictures of this. And I was like,
that's how it was. I walked over and she's like, hey, I have a studio in the back office. I'm like, what?
I do do that.
Yeah,
do.
It's pretty much with anything. Once I get my mindset on it, it's happening. If I speak it out loud, it's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then next year it's going to happen. Like, no, I'm doing this, and it's happening next week.
It's like, jump in. If you're going to jump in all the way. Kind of,
right.
Yeah. So, today we're talking about side hustles because everybody needs a little bit of extra money.
Right.
And I have to tell you, I've always had a side hustle, military. Always.
She has.
Cannot remember when I wasn't doing something on the side.
I think I've bought gym clothes out of her trunk.
No, it's my first.
Yes.
I don't remember what was it, gym gear.
It was
Figure. It was called Figure. I was selling workout clothes, and I actually enjoyed that. And then I was selling bodybuilder competition products.
Yeah.
And even when I was doing that, I was doing some kind of MLM, which I'm not a fan of multi-level marketing companies. And I can say that from experience because I've done Advocare. I've done, oh my gosh, In a Pickle.
Considered Pamper Chef.
Unique.
I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Pickle. I've never even heard of that.
That was it was like a little kit. Like if you're in a pickle, this is a kit that has Band-Aids, Q-tips.
Where the hell was that?
I don't even, it came and went fast. But you know what they say with MLMs, if you get in early, if you get in from the top, that's when you're really going to be successful. Mm-hmm. If they've been around for a long time and you're just another little person, like I did, It Works. Have you heard of that one?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I bought the things to wrap around the midsection.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I think I bought it from you.
Yeah. And I got into that from one of our friends, Melissa.
Okay.
And she was hustling. Like she inspired me. She was going hard and she was doing really well. But the thing I didn't like about that was in order to reach a certain level, you have to sell so much volume.
Right.
And they were really trying to talk me into like, buy all that, whatever you need to get to that. I think it was Ruby, the next level. And then you could just sell the product. Like I don't want to pay something every month in order to get a status because then it's fake. And what other thing I don't like about MLMs, you have to bother everybody you know constantly. And I feel bad about doing that.
And I did that at the beginning because I was doing, I don't even know if they're still around, Beauty Control.
Oh, I remember Beauty Control. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved the products. And that's one of my biggest problems is if it's got a product, I'm going to use all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like my number one customer. I'm like, oh, I got to tell people about it. I just want to use the product. So, but that's really the only one that I had been involved.
Do you remember Unique? The eyelash, the mascara. That's what they were known for at the time. It was makeup as well. I did Unique.
And were you on like on a newsletter or something?
I did them all. Like
I do remember Unique, like vaguely.
I was when I was on Lackland.
Yeah.
At the Guardian. But anyway, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized like I need to do my own thing. I didn't like someone else controlling every single aspect of what I was doing.
So different. I think multi-level marketing is different, has a different outcome. And you're right. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
So what is your primary, I don't want to say hustle because it's your full-time job.
Yeah.
What is your primary job right now?
My primary job is insurance. I'm an insurance broker and I provide services for small business owners. That's my niche, but I can help families as well with home and auto. But I really like working with small business owners because I just saw a statistic that they said 74% of all small business, which is like that's the SBA definition, certain size business is underinsured. That means either they don't have enough insurance to cover a loss, and liability is one of the largest losses that a small business will suffer. And they don't really review their policies every year. Yeah. It's just kind of like on autopilot. Like I always tell my clients, don't get on auto renew. Yeah. You need to know when it's coming up and you need to look it over. Like I just had a client the other day reach out, and she goes, "These are my policies. I'm too busy. Tell me what's going on." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Wait a minute. Do you really have $315,000 in personal property?"
Oh, wow.
Like, that's a lot of personal property. Like her home was for 450,000. Like you're almost like at the same amount that your home is worth.
Yeah.
Are you like Amel DeMarco? You own shoes like Louis Vuittons? I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't even know. Maybe 100,000, with her clothing and her furniture. And so we reviewed that. And they were also charging her fair market rent, like as if she was an Airbnb.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my
We had
goodness.
no idea.
That's
And I
crazy.
said, "Do you rent a room? Do you have a?" She goes, "I have a garage above my. I have an apartment above my garage." And she goes, "But that's my office." And I was like, "Well, they say you're an Airbnb and you're
Oh,
being
my
charged
goodness.
$90,000 in insurance coverage for." She was like, "No, I don't rent to anybody." So just those little things, like she's been with them for 2 years, paying that.
Oh
dang.
my God, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So when you got into insurance, was there a huge learning curve? Was it a big investment? Would you recommend that to someone else who's looking to get into entrepreneurship?
Well, I have worked for insurance agents as a young girl. So I started it was like my first job in high school. So I worked for a State Farm agent. All through college, I worked for a State Farm agent. So which is what's called a captive agent.
Mm-hmm.
They can only sell products that are from State Farm.
Right.
In 2019, we were just kind of chilling, and my husband was like, "Hey, maybe we should do life and health and offer it to our real estate agents because we have a real estate brokerage as well." And I said, "Yeah, let's do it," which is something I have a habit of doing for him. Not anymore. I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good." So we started net worth insurance in 2019. And then it was just life and health, which I think makes the most sense. It's the hardest sell because people usually don't put their life and their health first.
Yeah.
They'll put their insurance on their cell phone first, but not their life and health. So I wasn't really interested in it. We didn't really do anything with it, but it's not expensive to start business in insurance. I think the most expensive part is like your LLC setup if you want to be independent. But if
Okay.
you want to get your license, I think it's $250 to take
Oh,
the
wow.
courses.
That's not bad.
It's like $50 to take the licensing with the state of Texas. So maybe under $500.
That's
And then
pretty
you
good.
can go hang your license with anybody. It's similar to real estate.
Yeah.
You just find an agency and and then you can put your license with them. Of course, it's way easier,
Right.
but as an entrepreneur, we always have to go the long way.
Right.
Sometimes we have to build our own. And that's kind of how Ron and I are. Didn't want to be a part of somebody else's thing. We wanted to be our own.
Independent. Right.
So we started our independent agency.
Y'all are brokers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that means I can I can connect my clients with multiple carriers.
Yeah.
So it's not just one, it's multiple people that I have access to for general liability or for professional liability. So it's been fun.
Cool. So, do you think in order to start a business, do you have to have a certain mindset? Like, what would you recommend?
I think you do
Yeah.
because I've been around many, many people that want to start a business. Their number one problem is the fear.
Yeah.
They're afraid to make that commitment. They're afraid to spend that money and they're afraid to fail.
Yes.
And you can't be afraid
And you have to
because
be
you're going to fail.
patient.
And you have to.
I think I see a lot of people in the notary world because there's a lot of people out there, especially coaches and mentors, selling the notary lifestyle where, make $100 an hour, make $100.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get there, but you're not going to become a notary and then tomorrow start making all that money. Like it took months until I was making a real income. So I think that mindset is very important. It's not a get rich quick anything.
Yeah.
No,
It takes time.
Even in real estate, I think they said the average real estate agent will quit in year 2.
Oh, wow.
And the average real estate agent nationally only makes like $50,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
It's nothing. That's not That's not a lot of money.
No, not today.
Not
Not
today.
at all.
Today.
Some other side hustles, freelancing, writing or editing. We have a friend, Kim, who writes grants. And she does that you can just jump on Upwork or Fiverr and do that. But she has like connections because she's been doing it so long. She works with people and they contract her. She has a full-time job and then she does that on the side. So if you're good at that, that's another good thing to get into.
Oh, definitely.
I've done the pet sitting before. That was kind of my side thing for a little while.
Are you done with that?
I'm done only because I'm renting. And I was
okay.
I probably shouldn't be doing this in a rental home. So once I find my forever home, I'll have my little fur buddies come over. Yeah, we kind of put it on hold right now.
I had a friend that did that here, and then she moved to Florida, and they bought a little house on the beach, and her business blew because she would say, during the day, if you're at work, I'll walk your dog on the beach.
Yeah.
She went from like one little dog to like 20 dogs. I was like, girl, but she walks in the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
Or really late at night. So people aren't like, kids aren't running around, and she loves pet sitting.
Yeah, it was really fun. I just didn't think it was the right thing to do, renting a home. It's not my home.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just put it on hold and I'll go back to it. But I love animals, so.
So what did you need to get started with that? Just sign up on, I think you were on Rover.
Yeah, I signed up at Rover and you have to pay for a membership.
Oh, like a listing?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not free. You can't just put yourself out there for free. It's like $50 a year. It's like not that expensive.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, and just build your profile. And then once you have one, hopefully they'll come back. And once you get reoccurring people, then more people will reach out to you.
That's really easy to get started. That's like a quick way to make some extra income.
Yeah. So once I decided not to do it, the people that I did have, I was like, hey, if you do need me, just here's my cell. Because right now I'm going to go off Rover because I don't want to get too many animals.
Yeah.
Did you need insurance or anything?
Nope.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. House sitting is another good one. I think that's more for like younger people. House sitting. Yeah. I wouldn't now. I like sleeping in my own bed.
I know. I did it when I was young.
Notary is listed as a side hustle. And I agree with that. Some people just do it on nights and weekends. Thing is, you have to invest in it. It's cheap to become a notary, but if you want to be where you're making the good money, you're going to have to get insurance. You're going to have to get a really good printer. You're going to have a scanner. Like it takes an investment, but I would say probably about $1,000 is all you would need to invest. And you don't have to be an LLC. So you can simply go
reliable.
A DBA. Yeah. Get your training. Yeah. That's so important because if you mess up, you're not getting hired again.
I know some other like little side hustles would be Amazon delivery or.
Oh yeah, we tried to sign up for that.
Yeah, but they only take so many in that area, that zip code. So it's like you're on a waiting list if you want to do that. And then what was the other, Papa? Like senior daycare, or you go and help seniors. You run errands for seniors,
Papa Pal or something like that. But it's a good one.
I never heard back from them.
I never heard.
She never like you have to submit for a background check, and then I just never heard back.
And you either just spend time with them, you get groceries for them or with them. It's just pretty much being a pal to a senior.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Like I thought it would be fulfilling and make some money.
That is cool. I'm gonna start charging my mom. Right? I'm her pal. Well, I call her my partner in wine.
Yeah,
nice.
They are winos.
I hang out with you.
You sell jewelry.
I do sell jewelry.
Is that expensive to get started?
I make my own.
Oh, you make your own. Oh, yeah, not that.
Yeah, I make my own. But it takes time to make everything. Like just if I were to go and just sell jewelry, it'd be easy. But it takes time to make my jewelry, so I can only do markets like once a month, depending on how much time I have to make things. Because for a pair of earrings, it's a good day. If I want to just sit there and make a pair of earrings.
Are you using stones? Or
no, I'm using like seed beads. So I do designs and all that stuff. I've gotten more into that with the seed beading earrings. And then the same with like the kumihimo bracelets, the Japanese braiding. I do those also. It just takes time.
Yeah.
How much did that cost to get started?
I'd say over, I'm always getting colors because people have colors. I would say the easy $500 to buy everything I needed for the market and the beads and supplies.
Yeah. That's a good. And then you tried to do it also on Etsy, but that wasn't so great.
Yeah, Etsy, I had bad experiences with people would get it. It is. And then they charge you a reoccurring fee. And sometimes I would ship something and they would be like, oh, I didn't order that. I'll send it back. But then it's like, I have to refund you the shipping, refund you the,
Yeah,
it's like,
just keep it.
yeah, it's what the last lady, I was like, you could just have it. Like, I really don't want to deal with all that.
I bought a Cricut machine and I wanted to do t-shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I tried to set up a Etsy account. And I was like, okay, done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll just sell to my friends and
they keep,
sell.
their fee is pretty good. I mean, they keep a lot of your money.
Oh, yeah.
Because they file our taxes. They do all that tax stuff. We don't have to do all that.
Admin fee.
Yeah.
I did digital products on Etsy. And I'm not creative like in Canva. So I had to hire somebody to create my digital products. And now, I mean, it's starting to, because I guess how Etsy works, and I'm not 100% sure. Once you get it going, it's kind of like the algorithm. They'll feed you to more people. Yeah. So I initially started having ads on there. And I was selling, let's say I sold $100 a month and my ads were costing $100 a month. So I was making zilch.
Oh my God.
But from what I understand, like you have to like let the algorithm take place first before you start paying. But I think that's another really good way, because if you're creative on Canva and you can figure it out yourself, unlike me paying people on Fiverr, you can just, it doesn't cost nothing. I think the listing is what, like 29 cents? I don't even know what it is.
It's about 20
Yeah, 20 cents. Yeah. So that's a really inexpensive way to have a side hustle to get started.
Yep. I buy all my for my insurance from like the templates.
Yeah.
For auto or home or life. And someone creatively did all that. So I did find a little caveat that there's not enough of. So I'm going to try to learn Canva. And
Girl, do it.
I'm not going to say it here because then someone will do it.
Yeah, they will. Social media management.
Yeah.
Now we know a couple of people that do that. And that's actually, they make good money.
They do.
We know a girl named Erin in one of our networking groups. And I've hired her to do for the notary. And she does a really good job. I just can't afford to keep it going. But if you're creative like that, you have to hustle though. You have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to meet people. Like nobody's going to be knocking on your door to do their socials.
Yeah.
And she does hustle. Like she's really good. Actually, she's really good. That's another side hustle to do.
I have done the online surveys.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. So the most I've made on an online survey is $250. And most of it is related to ovarian cancer, but I just do the surveys and then the $25 here, $25 there.
No.
Yeah. But lately I haven't been qualified, or like I don't meet the criteria because I've been 4 years of remission.
Oh, okay.
So they want people that are recurring.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I don't want my cancer to come back for $25, but
no, you don't.
Yeah, but I mean, when I was home, I was like, okay, well, I'll do some surveys, and yeah, I think $250 was the most I made off of one. And it was a phone interview, which was simple.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's awesome.
I know you can like donate plasma. I've never done that. Have y'all?
Diego was going to sign up to do it.
Ron had to do that during that whole 2008 crash. And he's so funny. I had the minivan, all three of the kids. He goes in and we waited. I didn't know it was going to take 6 hours.
Oh yeah. The initial one is
I
long.
didn't know that.
Because they have to do all the testing, all the paperwork,
a physical thing.
Yes. And then you have to sit there in this frozen room. And then they do the process and you're freezing.
I can see him.
And then you have to wait after because it's your first time. And he came out and he was like,
how much did he make?
He was $200. It wasn't too bad.
For a day.
But I think after that, it's quicker. It's much quicker.
And it's still the same amount of money?
No, they think the initial one is the most.
Yeah, it takes so much time. It's pretty good though. If you just need a couple $100 pretty quick. I wonder if it's still the same since that was 08.
Yeah, it's probably changed. But I think you can only go back so many times.
Oh, because you need your blood.
You need your plasma.
Plasma.
And I think your body takes a while to regenerate it.
I can say that I made $194 on jury duty.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, can I just volunteer to be on a jury every week?
That's funny.
I think I would have issues after that.
What about substituting?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a side hustle?
What is the requirement? Do you know for a substitute teacher?
You don't have, I just went back in to put myself back out there because I was like, I want to do like once or twice a month, just to get out of the house and get back into the classroom. But I'm certified, but I don't think you have to have a teaching license.
I don't think you do.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
know. And they can put you as an assistant. There's so many different levels of substitute teaching. But there is a shortage. There is a shortage of substitutes.
Yeah, I know when I initially looked at that, I was looking into it when I believe I was still active duty, or maybe I was in the Guard by then. But then it seemed like there were too many and I could never get in to do it.
Yeah, I don't think I think there's a shortage right now.
Okay.
And then they have like a window. They really like you to do it at a certain time, like during Christmas time, right before Christmas vacation. Because after Christmas, a lot of people put their retirement in and say, I'm not coming back in January.
Really?
You
Yeah.
still get paid until
Or
the summer?
people have babies that earlier than they should have, or they thought they would.
Yeah.
So January is usually a slow, like they need subs. And then they always need them over the summer, like right before summer.
Okay.
People.
I'm guessing like it doesn't cost anything. You just need to get a background check.
Yep. And your fingerprints, similar to like insurance. You get your background, your fingerprints.
Oh, that's interesting.
Submit the application.
I know there's a lot of print on demand. Like I was selling T-shirts. I think it was like Uprint or something like that.
Yeah.
And I hired someone on Fiverr to create the design. And then there's print on demand places. So you just put your T-shirt and it's not even like an actual T-shirt because they give you the digital product to sell. So I think one of them I said I have a taco disorder. And I made that.
That's a great idea.
And I sold it on Etsy.
No, we need those.
I probably still have those. And also, recently I created a notary planner, and that's also print on demand. So I hired someone to do
Artwork.
Yeah, to do the artwork
layout.
And then she uploaded everything to Amazon, and I don't have to keep any inventory.
No,
they just order it. You just have to market it. You always have to market your product, and it's print on demand.
And you have that kit.
Yeah, so I did. Well, so my master's degree is actually in internet business. So that's what I'm really attracted to. And that's how I started selling the workout clothes online. And then I had a business where I was selling products to competitive bodybuilders. And I loved it. And at the time, I was the first person who had everything in one place. So I had Cindy and another friend, Lisa, they were competing and they would have to go here to get the shoes. They had to go there to get the jewelry. They'd have to go. I'm like, why is there a place where you can just buy everything? And that's how I did that. And then I went through a divorce. I just kind of got tired of doing it.
Spray tan before then.
Yeah. That was cheap to get into.
Spray tanning. Yeah. Before spray tanning was all over the place.
Yeah. It was really inexpensive. The machines were like, what, a couple $100. Mm-hmm. And then you get like a gallon of spray for like $80.
Right.
You just need to learn how to do it. So we tanned each other a lot.
We were
practicing. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. That's really inexpensive to get into.
I've always wondered about that.
By the end of the week, you need to take it off because it starts.
Scrub it off like when you shower?
Yeah, just an exfoliator.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was fun.
We did a lot of the bodybuilding shows. That was a pain. So.
It was because you spray them the night before and then they sleep all wacky. So they have handprints on their butt. And then it's like so much chaos the morning and everybody's a priority. So it was just irritating, honestly.
Yeah, it was.
And nobody's eating carbs. So they're all in a bad mood.
It's like, go eat a burger.
It's the words.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Was there ever a side hustle that you did that was surprisingly profitable?
Well, currently I'm doing a side hustle and I came across it kind of by circumstance. It was literally like I took my oldest son who just got his real estate license to a networking event. And it just happened to be in Austin. And I said, you know what? Your problem isn't that you don't know real estate. It's that you don't know any people because, at the time he was 20, 19. I think he was 19 at the time. And I said, you need to learn how to network and how to meet people and get out there so people know who you are. So we went to the meeting and one of the speakers just had a funny joke. And after that, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Why is he so charismatic? And we just happened to meet at the little after party. They had a little networking event after. And he's like, hey, I'm going to be in Bernie. It's nice to meet you. And I was like, you were really funny. It was like, I really liked your talk. And then we followed up when he came to Bernie. And he had told me that he was an associate for Legal Shield. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. No big deal. I didn't think anything of it. And then he kept in contact with Marco, and who's my oldest son. And Marco would say, oh, Mom, Bobbin's in town. We're going to go hang out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's go. And Ron did not want to go. He was like, I don't need to meet no people. I know how to meet people. And I was like, we're teaching him how to be social.
Ron is good. Like, he's very charismatic. He's funny. Like, he's definitely, I could see him out there networking.
Yeah. But when he doesn't want to do something, he is not going to do it. And so I said, let's go. And it just happened to be in August, and bar was outdoors.
Oh,
and he went, and that's how you know someone loves you, and they'll do something that they know they are going to hate. We sweated, we met him. And then it just so happens, like a couple weeks later, we were at the office, and I got an invoice come in through my email. And it was a $600 invoice for a letter that our attorney wrote for like a 30-minute conversation.
Holy
and
cow.
He charged us $600.
Oh my goodness.
And I looked at Ron, and I was like, what? This was such a little issue. Why are we being charged? Well, oh my God. Sorry.
Okay.
I told him I'm in the middle of a call
They won't hear it. You can't hear it.
Okay, good. So anyway, so I told, I know, sorry. So I told, I got the invoice, and I told Ron, I said, you know what? I met this guy that talked about legal services for unlimited advice and consultation. And he was, well, call him up, see what's going on. So we did, and we met him. And then that's who shared Legal Shield with me.
Oh, nice.
And when as a small business owner, that's like one of the biggest expenses. If you have to get an attorney.
Oh, yeah.
The minimum, I think in San Antonio, well, since 2020, it's probably $300 to $350 an hour.
Wow.
And if they have to write a letter for you, they'll definitely charge you 1 hour. Well, this guy charged us 2 hours. And when I look at it from a business person standpoint, and it's all in an app.
Mm.
So I literally can take a picture of something, upload it to the provider law firm here in Texas, and they'll respond and get on a phone call with me.
Nice.
And there's about 5 million members in the U.S. and Canada.
Is it expensive to get started to do it?
No, to be a member is $49.
But if you're going to start it on the business side.
On the business side, your total investment is $70.
Oh, wow. That's not bad at all. And there's no monthly recurring?
There is a monthly because you need to be a member.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like I'm a member of the small business plan, and I pay $99 a month.
Okay.
And that includes anything that has to do with my business, even an IRS audit. And then I'm on the personal side. So monthly my business pays $99. My family plan is $49. And that includes everyone in the family until they're 26 years old.
So it's a side hustle with Legal Shield.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a $99 investment, and then you need to get your marketing.
Well, what you do is you get access to the app. It's called the Prospect app. And in that app is everything that I need to share this service with other businesses. And then it used to be, this is the cool thing about this business, is it used to be, you had to be a licensed insurance agent to do it.
Oh, wow.
Because it was considered a service, like an insurance product. And I think out of the 50 states, there's still 7 states that you have to have an insurance license. But the state of Texas, they went through the issues, and they lobbied them, and they took that requirement away. So now you don't have to be a licensed insurance agent to be a provider, to be an associate. Anybody can sign up.
Do you have to have, I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but as a Legal Shield business member, you don't have to have people under you to make more money. You're just selling the business side and the personal side for business owners.
Exactly. So you can either be a service-based consultant or an associate, where you just share the service to everyone that you see, and then you receive a commission, similar to life insurance. If I sell a life insurance policy, I get a commission. That doesn't mean they have to be an insurance agent.
Yeah.
You can build teams, and there are some and this is the other thing that I liked about it. One, I don't have to stock anything in my garage.
Yeah.
Two, the company's been around for 50 plus years.
Yes. I heard of
And-
Legal Shield. I think a lot of people in the
Yeah, I
military
have.
used to do it.
And there's a lot of people that actually have the service that
Okay.
are veterans. So we've just really been really happy with it. I have one business partner that only does commercial drivers. So he only works with people that have a commercial driver's license, and he doesn't grow a team. He just sells the service so that they have access to an attorney if something, because they have so many levels of like you can get a dot violation, you can get a
Right.
personal violation. So it just keeps them to have something on their side when they need it.
So are you restricted to like a certain area of Texas or
Nope.
nationwide?
I can sell to anyone in the United States and in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
actually,
pretty
I
good.
just met
Yeah.
somebody who's and recruit life insurance insurance agents. So I share this service with my insurance team, my people that I know that are in the insurance field, and they can provide it as a service as part of their insurance packages as well.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Have you ever tried a side hustle that flopped? I think every MLM I did flopped.
Beauty control.
Yeah. I
was
wasn't into
using
it. My
more.
heart wasn't into it. I think it was the thing like Advocare.
Mm.
Great product. But it was having to bother people again and again. Like, hey, do you want to sign up to be a membership? Hey, you want to sign up to have it as a business? And you only know so many people. And then you go back around and ask them again. Like, I
Yeah.
hated doing that.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I remember, I don't know if it was you or Lisa that tried to get me into Avocare. I was like, no, I just can't.
At least I think she did it when we were active duty.
Yeah, I'm not a salesperson whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it was just, it's hard for me to be into sales.
I do prefer side hustles that aren't salesy.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm so attracted to the internet entrepreneurship, because you don't have to, you just go up there, do your SEO, get pay for some ads. People are coming to you after a while.
Yeah.
And I don't have to sell anything. Even with the notary, like I just put myself out there as like, hey, I'm a notary, sign up on all the apps, and then you get jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was going to do a side hustle of personal training. I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
now I got to go out and sell myself, and it's even working at a gym for a while. I worked at, it used to be called Spectrum here.
Yeah.
And part of the job was selling. I'm like, I just don't like this.
And they give you quotas, right?
Yes.
Sell so many.
I remember Tim, he used to be a trainer at Lifetime Fitness, and they would make him like, you have to sell whatever classes or heart rate monitors or product. You have to sell it. You can't just be a personal trainer.
Yeah. And it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
It does take the fun out of it.
That is a pretty good side hustle.
Yes.
Just get a certification a weekend or a week, or depending on which one you do.
Yeah.
Then you're a personal trainer.
Yeah. I looked into what Camp Gladiator. I was thinking about doing that.
I've heard of them. A couple of my friends part of that. I don't see it as much
I
on
agree.
Facebook anymore. It used to be like really hot.
big. Yeah.
Now everyone, I guess they all moved to Orange Theory.
Probably. And people don't want to work out outside in Texas.
No, yeah. But all you had to do was rent a park. And I don't even know if that costs money. So you get it, you pay into like a franchise for Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you just go set up at a park.
Yep.
Do you
So
have
that's
to be
pretty
in a certain
inexpensive.
area?
I'm assuming they would.
Yeah, I think you do have to be in a certain area, and they provide the equipment, I believe.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
really
Oh,
look
wow.
like fully into it, but I was going to meet with them to see about doing it. I just never did. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not as motivated as Anne Marie.
So virtual assistant is another side hustle. And I haven't been on the business side of it, but Serena hires a lot of virtual assistants.
I do.
So
I love my VAs.
I think if you're
so
organized, if you have the skill, like what kind of things do they do for you?
Well, we have 2 right now. Actually, we have 4, but 2 are the main assistants. One helps on the real estate side. When I quit, when I fired myself off the real estate side, I found we wanted someone to replace me. So she does all the emails and the correspondence, and when it has to do with actual like contracts, and that goes to Ron, or myself. But she does just all the busy work.
Yeah.
If Ron needs something researched, she does the research. And then we have another one that is also Ron's assistant and does a lot of the idea creation. So if he
Cool.
comes up with an idea for marketing or our website edits, he does that. And he helps us manage our Facebook pages and our, sometimes they'll do some LinkedIn posting for us or Instagram posting, but a majority of it is just the busy work, the stuff that you don't want to have to be doing.
Sounds like my job as an executive officer in the military.
I think the good thing about a virtual assistant, though, it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing basic skills for businesses, emails, making phone calls, sending out emails or printing documents or whatever it is. So it's a pretty good side hustle to get into.
Customer service, a lot of customers. They have some are where they'll just answer calls and take messages. So they'll just be there on your phone, ready to, especially now with VoIP and different services. You don't have to be here in the country. It can be in another country as well.
Yeah, but if you're here and you want a side hustle, I think that's a good thing to get into.
Yeah, for
sure. Take a lot of work. I hired someone just to do my marketing, and she would schedule she would create the social media posts, she would schedule them all, do everything, captions and all that. She would also do the blog posts. She was also my LinkedIn manager. She was really good, so inexpensive, but the girl that was originally managing my account, she graduated from college, and then someone else took over. Remember in my social media posts, I didn't like them. You had that weird one where it looked like OnlyFans.
Over your shoulder.
I know, it was all dark and creepy.
That was
and I was hoping she would come back and she was going to train someone else. It just didn't never happen. But that was like a huge stress relief because social media management to me is just something I'm not interested. I don't want to do it and everything. So if I can hire someone to do that as a VA, that would be great.
Yeah. I think women at our age don't want to go to an office and work all day. We prefer something like that where we can work from home as an extra side hustle.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work during the day, then do a side hustle somewhere else where they have to
leave the home.
Yeah. They want to be home.
Nobody likes to leave the home.
Or take the job with them wherever they want to travel.
Exactly.
So
that's 90% of the time when I want to do something, it's because I can be mobile.
Right.
Yeah. I know in the little notary world, there's a lot of people that are, what do you call the people who marry somebody?
Marry somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, like a
officiant. Officiant.
Oh,
They're
okay.
officiants. And it's so super cheap to do that. I think it's like a
ordained.
Yeah.
Like one of those?
Little minister or something.
Yeah.
Are you doing
it? No, I don't know. I have zero interest to do that. But it's inexpensive. Like I think you take a class, you pay $100 and then you could start marrying people. And when I got married, that's what we did. And it wasn't like we didn't get married in a church. We got married at a golf club. And I hired someone on the internet to come be to marry us. Yeah, it's really inexpensive to do that.
Would you be too opinionated and be like, I don't think you should marry them?
Not at all. I just don't want to deal with people on that level.
Yeah, it's true.
And then another side hustle is field inspections. And companies actually will hire you. Let's say someone's buying a home for somebody. They're not here in Texas. And I actually have one of these jobs next week where I have to take a bunch of measurements inside the house, inspect the house to see if there's any major damage, take a bunch of photos and send that back. You don't even have to be a notary to do that. You don't have to be anything to do that. They're just hiring people, and you get paid pretty well. It's like $100, and it takes you maybe 30 minutes. It's another side hustle people may not know about.
Be a witness.
Yeah, you can be a witness. Cindy was a witness for me once. That doesn't pay as much.
It doesn't. $25.
Lunch,
yeah.
lunch and a dessert.
Lunch and a dessert.
So for you two, you both are obviously very motivated women. What do you think are some key qualities for women to have to start their own business?
Well, I don't think you need to be very organized because I am not. You just have to be able to know your strengths, I think, and know your weaknesses. And like I had said earlier, you just can't be afraid to mess up and to have to start over and think, okay, this is not working the way I planned.
Yeah.
I need to pivot and just stick with it. That's really the biggest thing. Set goals, set timelines, and work really hard to meet those. That's what I needed to do because my brain doesn't work in a linear fashion. I'm more like squirrels everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's just go networking for 24/7.
You work a lot. Like, when are you making money? I think like we talk about motivation so much, but I think something that's a little bit more important is discipline. Because
Exactly.
motivation dies and you have
Yep.
to still be like, I need to get this done. Like, I have to pay my bills.
Yep.
Especially if you're trying to take a side hustle to a full-time job, you can't rely on motivation.
Nope.
You're just going to have to force yourself to do it and get that discipline going.
I had to get a coach and accountability partner. So in both, whether it's my insurance or my side hustle, I have one for each. And
Yeah.
it just helps me stay on track. And I never thought I was going to need one until I'm on this journey.
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
someone to help me stay on track.
That's another side hustle. Become a business coach. They're very
Yes.
popular.
Very popular.
I swear, in all the networking groups, all the women who own a business have a coach.
Yep.
And I did not know that was so popular. Had no idea.
Hmm.
I was like, wow, I don't know what I guess you never know what kind of value a coach would provide unless you actually have a coach.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I would go to someone for.
Well,
I think it's awesome.
I started one and I wanted to quit within like the first 3 months. And I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I think you know which one this is.
Eyebrows.
Okay.
And I just knew it was not for me. And then I started thinking, okay, Serena, she asked me really good questions. And that's why I stuck with it, was because they were questions I couldn't answer. And I was like, if I'm going to be a successful businesswoman, I have to be able to answer those questions.
Yeah.
And she really puts us, there's things that need to get done. And she reminds me, Serena, it's great, but how are you making money?
Yeah.
How are you going to make money? You could start a podcast, because I was like, I started that podcast.
Yeah.
And I really had to sit down and be like, this is the only time I'm going to work on my podcast, because that's not making me money.
Right.
I have to focus on my insurance
Yeah.
and then my legal shield business.
I think having someone for accountability is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for like doing this, because I know there's days where like, no, I just want to chill.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to think about a schedule, sending out emails, but I know I need to get it done because I have someone that I'm working with.
Yeah.
So I think that accountability partner is really important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what are some tools and habits that you both have to keep your business going, and what you've learned over time?
Well, I just recently was thinking, for me, I have to be involved with these 3 areas every week. So one is the group that we're in, Babe Support Babes. I like to be a part of those, be around those women who keep me accountable.
Yeah.
And then the NABO, because that is my source of my goal. There are businesses in that group that I want to aspire to be at, right? We have the Million Up group, and I know my business can be $1 million business.
Yeah.
So I have to be around people that are making $1 million plus. And then my third one is my coach, which is Inspired Action. And just the name of it, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be inspired to make action happen. So those are the 3 people and the 3 areas that I just feel that that's a non-negotiable. I have to be in those spaces weekly, especially right now.
One of the tools that I use most is AI.
Oh,
I don't know how much I think anymore. I rely on my AI so much, but it makes like, if let's say for the podcast, I'm sending out an email, or we created for guests to sign our form, like we're going to use everything that we recorded today.
Right.
And yeah, I didn't have to come up with that letter. I just asked ChatGPT to create it for me. It just takes so much time off my hands. But I would say the most important habit for me is keeping a routine. Getting up at the same time, getting my workout in, eating my breakfast when I feel like eating. And like I want to be ready to work by 10, even if I don't have any jobs. Like this morning was a Freaky Friday, because normally Fridays are so super busy. And then I was waiting on FedEx to deliver some information to me so that I could do my jobs. FedEx was like 3 hours late. I'm like, what's going on? But I was ready. Like I woke up, I did my thing, I showered, I was ready to go. And I could have been more productive, but that routine is what keeps me going every day. It's so
Definitely.
important.
Yeah. Are there any tools that you would suggest for people, like platforms, things like that?
Definitely, if you're not on chat, like she was saying, Chat GPT, There's Grok, there's Gemini, there's so many different AI tools to help you with your business. And it's again it's that virtual assistant, but it's there is a little bit of a learning curve. You need to learn how to talk to your chat,
You do,
basically.
yeah.
Because
Really?
he will only, mine's Winston. He's got an English accent. And Ron says, I'm always whispering. There she goes again, whispering to Winston's ear, telling him sweet nothings. Because I do. I tell him, I'm like, this is what I'm thinking, Winston. I need you to help me plan this out. I need a strategy and make it in bullets
wow.
because I
Yeah.
can't read in paragraphs to ADHD. And you got to use those tools. If not, you will be left behind.
You will be left behind.
You will.
I would say for me, the most important tool that I use is it's called Notary Gadget. It's my counting tool. It tracks all the mileages. It's also now my electronic notary journal. It's all in one.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize like it's like $10 a month. I don't even know. So cheap. But when I printed out my P&L to give to my CPA at the end of the year, she's like, that was awesome. Because you can also put notes in there. So I have to rent a room when I do some kind of closings. And I put notes like room rental for loan closing. And she was like, with all the notes, because some of them I put in miscellaneous, and I could create the category, but I just put miscellaneous with all the notes. And she's like, yeah, that was perfect. So if you, whatever you're doing, if it's insurance or whatever your jewelry side hustle, try to find an app that's specific to like this one's specific for notaries.
Right.
So it had everything I needed. So that was like a lifesaver for me because I'm not a QuickBooks girl.
Oh,
that's a learning curve.
This is exactly, I cannot. QuickBooks is just not in my brain capacity. So I ended up going to Etsy and I thought, I'm just going to ask it. I said, I need a spreadsheet specific for multiple businesses. Because under our real estate business, we have multiple streams of income, right? That are different, whether it's listings or agent recruitment or buyer rep. So we have streams coming in from different DBAs, but all under one LLC. So I found her and I was like, this is so awesome. You could put up to 6 different businesses on one spreadsheet and they're super responsive. And then I have my virtual assistant bookkeeper. We go through the YouTube videos, trained her how to do it. And now that tool it does a profit and loss for me. It does a monthly projection, annual, and then 5-year scale.
Yeah.
I'm like, spreadsheets are awesome.
Spreadsheets are awesome. You can learn how to. The thing about spreadsheets, if you don't do them repeatedly, you lose whatever you learned.
Yeah. That's why I had to hire a VA. You know, she does it. She does I'm like, here are the statements, put everything in. And it was funny because I had to train her because she was like, personal expense. And I'm like, no, this is a business. There are no personal expenses. I go, every single thing. I said, and maybe it was food, right? If we go to Chipotle or if we go, like Ron and I go to meetings and we'll get on live with our VA. That's a business meeting because we're talking about business. So the lunch is a business lunch. So I had to teach her that. I said, this is very important that you put, and then in the notes, I put what we discussed, who we met with.
Yeah.
And, but there was a little bit of a learning curve for her because she's not used to that.
Someone asked to become a realtor. Is it expensive? Because you have to have a training or a certification.
You have to have a license in the state of Texas. License. But there's two ways to get your license. One, you can do self-paced and get package deal. I think I've seen them as cheap as $400 or $500, right, for all the classes. But it's completely online and self-paced.
Yeah.
I've seen people go years with the same and then just keep renewing it and never finish the courses.
Oh, man.
Or you go in person and that can be an investment of $2,000 to $3,000, maybe more on the $3,000 now. And that is in person. You're sitting in a classroom. I did that because I'm not if you tell me, Serena, here's your classes whenever you want, I won't get online.
Yeah.
So I had to go and I went every weekend, Saturday and Sundays. I only did the weekends. And then of course, I was ready to get done. I did it in 3 months. I was licensed by the 3rd month. So the investment is steep and the licensing is a little expensive. So maybe 5,000.
Oh,
You're
wow.
in.
That's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's cool that you can just do it on the weekends
You can. Yeah, you
for
can.
people who have
Or
full-time
online.
jobs. Yeah,
Or online.
Yeah.
And then you need to get sponsored by a broker.
Okay.
So then you need to find a broker and hang your license under that broker. And then there's different types of brokers and they take different commission splits. And so there's a whole lot of research to be done.
Yeah. That's a lot more. I probably wouldn't do it. It's too
Yeah,
much.
it's a lot. And there's so many realtors.
There are.
There
I
are.
think it's oversaturated.
Mhm. You have to be like, I like to focus on new home builds. That's
Yeah.
all I work with.
It's like
is-
Marcy.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that because I like working with builders and it's a really good market. And then some people like to do apartments and there's a lot of money in
I didn't know
apartment
that was a
locating.
thing.
Oh, yes. A very lucrative business. So those are two of my favorite is apartment locating and new home builds.
I think apartment locating would be cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
So when someone wants to start their own little business, what is the first thing you would suggest they do?
Market analysis, do your research, see how many other people are already doing that. If there's even space for you out there.
Okay. And once they figure that out and they want to name their business, where do they go from there?
Get on Google and make sure nobody
Yeah.
else has that name. Because if
Do
you want the
research.
socials, you want the domain, you want to make sure that
Nobody
have a
has
name
it.
that nobody else has.
Right.
Especially if you're going from the ground up, your brand needs to be unique.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be able to brand yourself. So if someone else is Serena's real estate, then that person's already been there.
Yeah.
Right.
They're already a brand in the market. You're fighting uphill. Not
Yeah.
that you can't do it, but you're going to be fighting uphill.
And get your DBA. You're
Yeah.
doing business as.
Or become an LLC, whichever avenue you decide
Yep.
to go.
Right.
Whichever way you want to go, and then the journey begins.
Yeah.
Website. How are you going to do your emails? How are you going to keep track of your business?
How are you going to market yourself?
Right.
How are you going to get business? Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think I'm not good at doing the business plans, but you learn a lot when you do a business plan, especially with the
Yes.
market analysis. You learn who your competitors are. What are they charging? Like when I first became a notary, I didn't know. If somebody asked me, how much do you charge for this? I had no idea. I had to do so much research to figure out what are my fees. Now I know,
Yeah.
but that was one of those things that was so just like, what do you charge? I don't know.
Have you asked chat to see if it
I was
was?
about to say.
I never thought about that. No.
I did for my business and insurance or how to communicate what I want. And it found my competitors when we were doing the startup.
Oh, yeah.
I had to do the business plan.
Yeah.
And then I had to tell it, no, like Geico is not my competitor. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's a person that just wants to not talk to anybody, go online and doesn't care what the insurance, and just get it immediately. My competitor is the person to person, right?
Yeah.
Business, the small business consultant or the one that is talking to you face to face. And then it narrowed it down.
Yeah. That's how chat learns you. You have to tell it, no, you're dumb right now.
Yeah. I know one time I said, Winston, I think I'm going to go use Grok because I think you don't know what you're doing. And then it said, I'm so sorry, Serena, you feel this way.
Oh, you hurt
And I
his
said,
feelings.
you need to tell your engineers that they need to fix this. They're always apologizing. Serena, please don't leave.
That's why I say we were talking about character traits of entrepreneurs. It's just resilient. Like you just have to keep going no matter what's happening. If you're not successful, that might be for a year or so. Like you have to have the endurance and
For the
ability.
momentum.
Yes.
There is a momentum and you can't slow down.
You can't. You can never stop. Like
Right.
I stopped networking for a long time. And when I missed it, because you meet so many great people.
I know.
But I feel like that's what kind of got my business going. So I became a notary in January. I started my first job, I think it was March or April. And I quit my job by August. And I believe it was from all the networking, getting my face out there and meeting all the different people. And then I just started, I was working. I was just working. And lately I'm like, man, I miss networking. And I also want to do different aspects. I don't want to just do loan signings. I want to do different things. And I want to work more for attorneys. And that's only going to happen by networking.
And meeting more attorneys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are they at? Hello.
Anne Marie the notary.
One time I was in El Paso and it's so weird that you said that. And I like to always go exploring in hotels to see where, like the ballrooms and see what's in there and check them out. They were having a young attorney symposium.
Oh, wow.
And there had to have been like 300 attorneys. There they were in El Paso, Texas.
Attorney symposium. I'm not going to El Paso. That's something I can definitely start Googling.
Yeah, it was like they literally were new and there's an associations. I would go start there.
Yeah, associations for sure.
Yeah.
I just need to.
Especially when they're just starting off and they just open a practice or what do they call it? Is it a practice?
Yeah, because my people are the ones that either are working from home, because most of the big law firms have in-house notaries. They don't need me. So someone who's working from home or the people that are doing co-spaces, those are the people I need to meet.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. I didn't think of that.
I don't need the big law firms.
Yeah.
I just got to get myself out there more. It's easy to get, I felt too comfortable just working. And I realized, how loan signings make me so upset because you'll have a full day and then half of them are canceled. Mm-hmm. Or you have a 9, 11, and a 1. Your 9 is now 1. You can't do that. You know what I mean? It's just too many variables with that. So,
yeah. And I don't think you should be afraid to ask for the sale, right?
Yeah.
I think that's another part of it.
You definitely do. Just put yourself out there.
How can we do business together, right? How can I help you? How can I help your business? Especially if you do business to business. If you're doing customer to business, that might be a little harder. Now you have to find customers.
Yeah.
I'm more in the business to business
you are
area. So I'm meeting a lot of business owners. So.
And you do. Mm-hmm. You're everywhere.
I'm trying.
So how can people find you for your business?
Well, I'm on every social media platform there is.
So on LinkedIn, which would it be?
All LinkedIn. Serena Miranda. That's it. Serena Miranda on LinkedIn. And I think on all the other ones, it's serenamiranda.networth.
Networth.
Mm-hmm. NETWORTH.
And what can you provide the customer?
Well, I am a service. I have services. So I can provide from all your insurance needs, general liability, if you're a business, personal, home and auto. If you are a pet mama or daddy, I do pet insurance as well.
Oh, wow.
So we got to protect our babies.
Yes.
And that's only cats and dogs. I don't insure
Don't come when we see your walrus.
A gecko.
I don't insure guinea pigs or any other animal that's not a cat or a dog.
Okay. Good to know.
Do you want to share a email address?
Yes. Email is serena@networthlife.com.
Serena at
Networth with a TH. networthlife.com.
All right. Well, we really thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge of businesses and entrepreneurship. Same with you, Anne Marie, because you shared a lot also. So I think it's very important for people that want to start up something know how to do it. So just be resilient.
Yes. And any questions, I'm more than happy to help because I think that's also something we need is a community to help each other.
I agree because it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Scary when you're first starting.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore. I think I've done it. I'm trying to do so many things. I don't feel that anymore. I'm just like, I want to do this. I'm going to do it. But when you're first starting your first business it's scary.
Yeah,
it is.
Whether you're baking cookies, flipping furniture, freelancing online, or finally launching that dream biz, remember this. It's never too late to start something new. Side hustles aren't just about extra income. They're about reclaiming your time, your talents, and your purpose. If this episode sparked an idea or reminded you of what you're capable of, take that next step. Even if it's tiny, you've got the wisdom, the work ethic, and the why. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Thanks for listening to the No Expiration Date podcast, where reinvention is always in style. Follow us for more stories, laughs, and tools to help you thrive in your next chapter. Stay bold and beautiful. expiration date. We named him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I told Ron, I said, I'm going to be on Anne Marie the Notary and her friend's podcast because I didn't know your name at the time. And what's it called? And I said, no ED.
No, I erectile dysfunction.
And he tickled and he goes,
What are y'all talking about?
I go, oh, I mean, it's no expiration date. No, I mean, NED. And he goes, I was going to say, who's on me? Who are you interviewing?
The No Expiration Date podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are our own and do not constitute professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness, reliability, or accuracy of any content. This podcast should not be considered a substitute for professional guidance in any area, including legal, financial, business matters. Any actions taken based upon the information presented are at your own risk. Listener discretion is advised, and all content is shared in good faith for entertainment and informational purposes only.